and say welcome Ramadan to you, to me. Let me welcome Jyoti Gondek. Hello, how are you?
जी सलाम अलैकुम
Oh,
जी
you can speak Hindi? Okay.
पंजाबी actually
Punjabi, okay, okay.
yeah
Go ahead, sorry.
yeah
How are you?
very good सब ठीक मैं सब ਨੂੰ रमज़ान ਦੀਆਂ ਮੁਬਾਰਕਾਂ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ Ramadan Mubarak to everybody.
Very good, very good. Okay, just tell us something about yourself and about your services and how our city is going on and about your team, how they are doing here in Calgary to improve this city.
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on your program. Thank
My
you
pleasure.
to everyone who's tuned in. I would firstly like to thank the people of Calgary for electing me back in 2021. It is the privilege of my lifetime to do this work.
Very good.
It is a very tricky time, economically speaking. It is a very tricky time, politically speaking, as well. But my goal has always been to build stability and certainty in the city. And it has been a pleasure to work with my fellow councillors, as well as the business community in our city, social service organizations, and working with provincial and federal governments to make sure that our city is receiving our fair share of funding from both of them.
Okay, very good.
We have been very focused on investing in things like public safety. We want to make sure that the city is a safe place for everyone to live.
Very good.
We have continued to fund the Calgary Police Service as well as Calgary Fire Department to make sure that they are able to respond to any emergencies that we may see. We have continued to invest in public transit
Very good.
to make sure that everyone has an accessible way to get around the city. We have invested in housing to make sure everyone has a home to live in with dignity. And we have invested in our economy. We have grown our downtown. We have just very recently announced a major inland port strategy where we will be using CPKC rail to ensure that we are shipping goods from Canada to the US to Mexico,
Wow.
as well as across our country.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so what is the plan in future? The elections are not far from now. So do you think you're coming again to serve our great city, ma'am?
Well, I do intend to run again.
Very good.
I am hoping to gain the trust of Calgarians again. It has been, as I mentioned, an honor to serve this city, and I have taken the time to meet with many communities, including the Muslim community in Calgary, to understand what people's needs are. I can tell you that across the board, it doesn't matter which community you talk to,
True.
everyone wants to be sure that we are taking care of our city, that we are investing in roads, that we're repairing our roads, making sure that our water systems are working properly,
True.
so that we are doing the basic work that needs to be done. And with the successes we have had in improving and approving budgets to take care of the good people of Calgary, it would be my pleasure to serve again. Once again, the election is not until October, so I'm very focused on doing the job I was elected to do.
Very good.
Yeah, instead of focusing on getting reelected, I'm focusing on doing the work that needs to get done.
Okay. I have one concern. I have actually, since I am in media services, people, they ask me too many questions about the city of Calgary services, like especially if you are visiting hospital and people, they are desperate, they have to pay for parking ticket over there. So do you have any solution for that? Because the people, they are not going there for picnic thing. They are going to see some sick people or for the to see him in hospital. So how you can help us in this regard?
I can tell you that just like you mentioned, I have been someone who's had to go to hospital before. I've had to take friends and family members, I've had to go myself, and it is a lot to worry about when you have to think about where are you going to park, how are you going to pay for that parking. Now that is not something that the city controls, because health is under the jurisdiction of the province.
Okay.
So it is something that the province covers, but we have had conversations to say, how do we make this better for patients? And so I think we just need to continue to think about the people we serve. And as you said, a human being, when they're going to hospital, is already in a very traumatic situation. Worrying about things like parking is just an added burden. So
that's true.
As you mentioned, I think that is something that we need to investigate further.
Very good. Thank you. One more concern. How about the property taxes going day by day higher and higher? Do you have any plan to put the stop on it or something like this? Because the people, they are like, they would like to see if the property tax is stopped somewhere.
So I can tell you when it comes to taxation,
Yeah.
municipalities, cities like Calgary are in the worst possible position. So I'm not sure if all of the listeners know, so let me explain this. When you pay taxes, the total taxes you pay, the city only takes about 11% of everything you're paying.
Oh,
The other 90% goes to the federal government and the provincial government.
okay.
We actually don't benefit from any of your income taxes. The only funding that we have is through property taxes. And we also agree that it's not a great form of
That's,
taxation.
yeah. That's,
Because when you're charged income tax, at least you're seeing something. Every 2 weeks, you're seeing a paycheck, right?
That's
When
true.
it comes to the property you own, it has a lot of value when you sell it. But until you sell it, we forget that it holds value.
True.
So we agree that it's not the greatest taxation system. There's another problem too.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if people know this, but the government of Alberta actually takes at least 30% of your property taxes.
30% goes to government of Alberta?
Goes to the government of Alberta. It's been
Okay.
called an education tax for a very long time,
Okay.
but it wasn't necessarily going towards education. It was going into their general funding, and then it was getting distributed. The other struggle we have, the taxes that we send up to the province do not come back directly to Calgary.
Okay.
Some of those taxes are used for other municipalities. So it's kind of like an equalization payment. You know, we talk about how Alberta is so successful,
That's
and
true,
we
yeah.
make equalization payments to other provinces. Calgary's in the same position. We are very strong. We do very well. We're the economic engine of the province. But as a result, we pay taxes here that help other municipalities.
Okay, so this is the like system. All provinces are following this system, or just in Alberta?
I'm
What you
not
told me.
sure what other provinces are doing.
Yeah.
Many of them have a completely different way of collecting taxes or assessing taxation, but our Education Act dictates that the city must collect those education taxes on behalf of the province.
Okay, that's true. Okay. Viewers, this is Mustafa here in Vision Live Studio. Today we are lucky we have our Mayor of Calgary, Honorable Jyoti Gondek. Yes, she is here. She just mentioned she is going to be a part of the next civic election again. So I would like to ask all of my viewers, if you like her services, please support her, because she has a good intention to serve our great city and our great Canada. Is there any special message would you like to pass to our youth, especially?
I would say that this is a really important time to remember who you are. And it's a very important time to stay true to your faith, to stay true to your culture, and to stay true to the generations before you that created the opportunity for you to thrive here in Canada. I know there's many generations before us. I know my father fought very hard to make sure that we had equal opportunity in this country. And I'm grateful that our youth have more doors opening for them. I know things aren't perfect yet, and I know there are still struggles. I know there's a lot of racism that still persists in the world, but I just want people to know that if you have leadership and people in positions like I am who are advocating for diversity and the power of having different voices and different cultures working for the same goals, we will be in a great place as a society. So that's something I firmly believe in, is making sure that all of us are treated with the same dignity and respect, and that everyone has equal opportunity to be successful and prosperous in our city.
That's true. Okay, one more concern. Since we are here in Northeast area, so I just want to know, is there any way we can bring Northeast equal to Southwest or Northwest? Because especially in the winter time, we have a serious issues of snow removing in our area, especially in Northeast. So people, they are always talking about, if you're living in Northeast, you're in trouble. Insurance is very higher in my area. Everything is like crazy. So is there any solution City of Calgary or City Alberta government they have for us,
I,
especially people living in Northeast?
I think one of the most important things is to recognize that the Northeast is in a zone where homes are impacted by hailstorms. And we have seen that happen twice now. And as a result of that, we have appealed to the provincial government to say building codes should be specific about what kind of material is used to build homes. So building codes, again, we have to work with the province to make sure that those are strengthened. We as a city have created a fund in the past to help people access some money to get their repairs done. We continue to work with both the provincial and federal governments to ensure that we have enough materials for homes to get fixed. The biggest problem we had, the first big hailstorm a few years ago,
Yes.
you couldn't get shingles, you couldn't get siding
Yeah, there
because
was
the
no
supply
material and
wasn't there.
supplies, yes.
So we have to make sure that we have strong supply chain and logistics networks so we can get the kind of materials that are needed. But before that, let's try to build homes where this kind of damage isn't going to happen.
Yes.
You know, the other thing I will say about the Northeast, for many years, there wasn't good representation up here. And it was almost neglected. And I would say now we've got a very good ward councillor who makes sure he stands up.
Very energetic guy.
He stands up
mashallah.
every council meeting and he says, my neighborhood needs to be getting more than
Yes.
what we have been getting. And so he and I have been working together to make sure we've got improvements to things like parks and recreation facilities. We've made sure that there's improvements to public transit. When it comes to snow clearing,
Yeah.
our city has not kept pace with what's happened. We used to rely on really good weather and Chinooks, and we didn't have a lot of snow in the past. That's changed in the last 20 years, and we have not kept up with that. Now, I can tell you, last year, one of my colleagues, Councillor Peter DeMong, requested that we invest more in clearing
Into
snow,
this, yeah.
and we invest more into fixing roads.
Okay.
So working with my colleagues, we've been able to put more money towards clearing snow as well as road repairs, because the two things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
When things get very cold and then they heat up, that's when you get the cracks in the pavement. So repairs of the roads as well as removal of snow is something we've invested more in.
Very good. Okay, ma'am, I really appreciate about your time. You came here to join our live discussion at Vision Live Studio. I really appreciate.
I appreciate being invited. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think you're doing a wonderful job on your program. I want to thank your listeners and your viewers for being such good Calgarians and staying engaged. So once again, Ramadan Mubarak to everybody. Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much
much.
for having
Thank
me.
you.